Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. Get on in here, y'all. Get on in here, get on in here. All right, get comfortable. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. You are now in the den. So, y'all, today this is my recap review for House of the Dragons. Okay, I gotta make sure I got the name right because Chani Chai, I'll be calling this the House of Dragons. I'll be saying Game of Thrones still. I'll be saying DemThrones. I'll be saying DemDragons. Y'all get the point. This is House of Dragons Season 1, Episode 2, The Rogue Prince. Child, let's just say that we got into this episode, honey, and it had to be, of course, you know, lies, deceit, foolishness, foolery, okay, backstabbing, undermining, because what else would it be? All right, we got some crabs and maggots, child, munching on some meat, some skin and some bones, okay? We got some burning ships and things going down, people getting pissed, and of course, we never want to waste no time. We want to get right into it. We all, if we seen last week that when the queen and the, heir to the throne, the little son died, that we had to hurry up and get another heir. And we see with this episode, we don't got no time to waste. We had, one of the Lord Commanders passed away, Sir Ryan, who was on the King's Guard, and we need to hurry up and replace him too. He went peacefully in his sleep and all that good stuff, and now we got to make sure that we got 7, people on the guard. And so they already got some candidates that they already done lined up to fill in these spots. And we also want to go ahead and hurry up and have King Varys choose, another wife. Like, we done gave you 6 months to grieve with that, honey, and that's too long too. We need you to keep it moving. So, we don't care nothing about no deaths around here. When one goes out, we need the next thing coming in. We waste no time when it comes to that. Now, in the meantime, they having this meeting, talking about the King's Guard, but Lord Corlys comes in and he says, listen, y'all around here bull crapping, all right? We ain't got time for this. We got 4 ships that have now been lost, and one of those ships actually have my flag. Those are my men. What are we doing about this, all right? This was one ship that was flying his banner. So now we ain't got time to play games. Y'all sitting around here dithering with court business, okay, when we got to get down to some other business. And he wants to know what's going to be done about his men. And so they're telling him, like, oh, don't worry about it. We are going to more than compensate your crew, their ships and all of that. And we will offer some money to their families. And Lord Corlys is like, look, I don't want no damn compensation. What I want is for you to seize damn, stepstones by force and burn out this damn crab feeder. Like, y'all playing games, all right? And King Verses is basically saying that they are not prepared to start a war in the free cities. That's not what he's trying to do. Is anybody shocked there? Of course, the king does not want war. Now, in the meantime, Rhaenyra's in there and she's pouring them some tea, baby, but she getting that tea too. She's trying to keep her ear to the street. She's paying attention to what is going on and what is being said. So, Lord Corlys says these pirates are not the free cities or whatever, right? You sitting here talking about you worried about the free cities, but these pirates is basically going in. They not about this. And on top of that, you've been letting Daemon do whatever the hell he want to do. He all up and through Dragonstone. He done committed treason and you don't do nothing about him either. So Otto had to kind of step in and be like, listen, Lord Corlys, you may sit at the table with the king, okay, but you are not the king and this does not make you his equal, all right? So he had to kind of bring him back to reality for a minute. Now, King Versi says, you may be thinking I ain't do nothing, but I actually am already on top of it. I've already acted. I'm already 2 steps ahead of you, okay? I done sent in invoice to Pentos and Volantes to see, if they may find a common cause. So, calm your nerves. You ain't got to worry about it, right? And he has the ships and men basically ready. Now Rhaenyra jumps in the conversation, okay, and is basically like, listen, you got father, you got dragon riders. What you think I'm here for, okay? Send us out so we could go ahead and take care of this and we can show her force. Now, of course, when she first talks, everybody's turning around. You know, he laughs kind of nervously, but Lord Cordless is basically like, well, at least the princess has a plan, you know, and of course all the other men are very dismissive because what does this little girl know, right? What could she possibly have to say about this, right? And so they actually say, maybe we want to find something else for the princess to do, right? So they could get her up out of the room. And the king tells them to go ahead and take her so that she could go ahead and pick this guard that they needed to replace any daggone way, right? And that this guard is actually a knight that will also protect her. So now when she go out there to go ahead and pick the guards, you know, here go Otto again. He really liked to be very dismissive and try to play her. You know, every time she's asking about somebody, he likes to intervene and have something to say or whatever. And so she's like, let's cut the ball, because they brung up like 2 or 3 different people and was telling her whatever little stuff that they did. And she was like, you know, who is the one out of all these people that actually been in the battlefield and done killed some people? Okay, that's who I want to see. And they let her know that it's Sir Christian Cole. And I'm like, okay, Sir Christian Cole is baby. Okay, he's cutie. He's a cutie. And he out here, you know, doing what needs to be done. He's actually the only one that is a force to be reckoned with. And we seen that he was giving, you know, Damon a little run for his money. So she's like, okay, then my choice is Sir Cole. And Otto tries to intervene again, okay, talking about some, well, no, hold on, princess, you know, we may need to wait and see this and see that. And she was like, no. If this is the man that is the most experienced or whatever, right? Shouldn't a man that has to protect my father be a man that knows real combat? And Otto couldn't say nothing to that. He's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, my princess. Yeah, I am. Okay, so keep it moving, Otto. And of course, we see Rhaenyra, okay, Miss Queen, that, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, we do see Rhaenyra notice that Rhaenyra, okay, the queen that never was, is peeping her and watching her from across, you know what I'm saying, the way. And they make eye contact. And so, you know, Viserys is basically spending a lot of time with Alicent in between all of this, okay? They are back in this room that has this layout with this model of everything that he wants to be built up. And he's kind of giving her a history lesson. And then he's also asking her about, you know, Princess Rhaenyra and whether she's been talking about him, right? And how she's feeling. And he's like, you know, I wish she would approach me. And Alicent is telling him like, well, you could approach her too. You ain't got to necessarily wait for her to, you know, come and approach you. And he's basically saying that I hope you're not telling her about these conversations we having because she may not understand. I said, well, what is there for her to understand, King, huh? What is there for her to understand exactly? You know, she over here telling him how he did such a good job with these models and building up everything and saying how he wanted to be. And he's like, no, only thing I've really been doing is giving them the histories and the Masons, you know what I'm saying? They're the ones that go ahead and create all of this. You know, she's saying, do you believe that Westeros could be another Valyria? And then he's basically like, you know, that depends on, you know, who you speak to or whatever, right? And he was telling her about these thousands of dragons, and he ends up dropping one of them, you know, and cracking it, like the model of it or whatever, right? And then she picks it up and gives it to him. But that's when he basically was saying to her, you know, he wasn't too sure how Rhaenyra was feeling and all of that kind of stuff. And of course, to keep, you know, these conversations between them. And so Rhaenyra is then with Alicent, you know, they go down to where it looks like this place where people, you know, can kind of pray and meditate and light these candles or whatever, right? And think about the family members that they lost. And we find out that this is somewhere that Alicent goes to remember her mother and pray to the gods, you know, about her. Talk to them about whatever you want to. And so she's telling Rhaenyra, like, you know, kneel with me for a minute, right? This is what I do. And I was thinking that maybe it could help you too. She also tells her, like, you know that your father loves you. And of course, Rhaenyra brings up too while she's there that, you know, I see them and I hear them. I be knowing what's going on. And of course, it's only been 6 months and they're already trying to marry him off to somebody else. And Alicent is saying, you know, would it be so bad if he got married to somebody else? I mean, he's the king and he has to do that and da 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 da, okay? And of course, she is also telling her that her dad is a good man and that her dad loves her, right? And then when Rhaenyra's like, well, I don't know what to talk about, that's when she's basically saying to her, like, talk about whatever you want, just say whatever you want to the gods. And, Rhaenyra has a little bit of an emotional moment, right? Just thinking about her mom and her loss and probably what she's been through and everything like that. And Alicent comforts her. So we have Lord Corlys now he got a new idea in his head, right? Him and the queen come up to him, the queen that never was, and they say that we need to go ahead and join families. There could be a lot of strength in our families joining, right? Our daughter Lyanna could basically become your new wife. And so of course, Viserys is saying that he hasn't even given marriage much of a thought. It's only been 6 months since he lost his wife, okay? And that wasn't really on his mind right now. Now, at first, they was talking about their obligation to avoid war. But then, he was like, well, what else do you really have in mind, okay? He knew they wasn't both coming to talk to him just about that. And so, basically that's when they start to talk about these families uniting, right? Of course, the king's family or whatever, and then their family, because they come from, a strong background, and it would show strong, like, strength among them, right? Especially with everything is going on right now, because people is getting a little bit leery with him, okay? They not trusting how things is going. And so, the queen that never was says, this is an honest one that we're coming to you with, right? And a big game plan that could kind of help and build up and show strength and show that we on the right track and you doing what you need to do or whatever, right? And they cannot wait. This is something they got to jump on now. And so when he's saying, what do you propose? They was like, well, basically for you to marry our daughter, we are going to join families, all right? You are going to wed our daughter Lyanna, unite the two surviving Valyrian houses, and, with the Targaryen dragons and our Valyrian feet, what could be more stronger than that? That would be the strongest thing that we could possibly do, okay? So, of course, he's saying that, he got to go ahead and think about this because according to him, that was a nice way of him saying that he really had not even thought of having any wife, right? Or taking up another wife right now. And so him and Rhaenyra do end up having dinner and talking. And you could tell by the conversation that she had with Alicent, that she's trying to be a little bit more open. He's saying that, he wish he would be talking to her more. And she's like, well, you're the king. You could talk about any daggone thing you want to, right? Anytime that you want to. And so, she basically brings up like, I'm sorry about the council meeting or whatever. And he was like, oh, no, don't worry about that. And he tells her that she's young and that she is going to learn as time goes on, right? So it's not really a rush for her to worry about that right now. And that's when we end up after this scene seeing them child put them nasty ass maggots on the king's hand, all right? And they saying that this is their best chance of saving him because of course we seen that the king got his hand cut on that daggone throne, all right? And so this is supposedly for them to heal that. It was so disgusting. Like they just got a freaking bowl of maggots, sitting around. But nonetheless, as he's sitting there doing this, they start discussing him marrying Lyanna again. He's telling the, Grandmaster and Otto about how Corlys came up to him with this, offer. And, Otto was like, well, this is something that's supposed to be something that's discussed in front of the whole council. And the king is like, yeah, I'm coming to you now. And what is your opinion? And so they say she is young. And he says, yes, indeed she is, right? But then the Grandmaster is basically like, listen, this is a great match. We can't deny that. He was like, that's still in the breach as uniting the two great Valyrian houses. It certainly would be a unity throughout the realm and beyond. And so he's like, you can't be worrying about how young she is, okay? And Otto was saying, first Otto was like, yeah, I agree with him, but, still, that could be a little problem. And then, Various is saying, what do you think about what Rhaenyra would think about this? And the Grandmaster saying, what does it matter? I said, okay, Grandmaster, what you mean? What does it matter? But we know that time and stuff like that. And if this is the norm, of course. And to be honest, y'all, I think it was like 2-3 years ago that I had found out it was still legal in New York for all of these years for a 14-year-old to get married, okay? They just changed the law on that. So this is not something that is only with royal families or that is so long ago if we really thinking about it. But it definitely was the norm then, and we definitely do want it to be that, royal blood or whatever the case may be, right? And so it's no shocker that they doing this, but it still kind of make my stomach a little queasy. So he's telling him like her mother passed and the father got to keep that royal line going. So it is what it is. So we can't be worried about how she's going to feel, And Otto was like, listen, I loved my wife dearly or whatever, right? And it's been hard for me. The pain of her passing still haunts me. And he says, I can't even imagine what you going through, and you have to be compelled to replace her for duty's sake. So he was like, you may be the king or whatever the case may be, but I don't envy you when it comes to that, because we know that Otto got pissed when Daemon brought up his daggone wife and was saying he should take another one. But at the end of the day, this is basically what, Verses has to do, right? So it is what it is with that. And then we actually see him going on a walk with Lyanna, right? And she's asking him about, his dragon and what happened to it, making basically small talk. And side note, who put that little silver wig on that little girl, child? A hot mess. But nonetheless, she basically was asking, and he was saying he died or whatever the case may be, and she was like, saying that they say that Volga still lives somewhere and it's a bit too large for dragon pit, and some say that they could still hear the sounds. And basically she was saying, do you know where she rests at, and do you know where Virga's at now? And he was like, the dragon keepers believe she made a home somewhere in the coast of the narrow sea, and some people were saying they could still hear her song at times, right? And they say that's a sad thing. And King tells her, I imagine dragons get lonely sometime. And so then she stops and she's basically like, Your Grace, it would be a great honor to become your wife and for us to join houses or whatever the case may be, right? She's like, I would give you as many children of pure Valyrian blood as I could, and then strengthen the royal line. So we already know that, somebody told her to say this. So he's like, your father told you to say this? He was like, and what did your mother tell you to say? Child, she said her mother said is that she won't have to bed him until she turns 14. I said, ooh wee, okay. If that don't make you cringe, I don't know what does. But again, like I said, we know this how it goes, and we see Rhaenyra basically looking down and observing from up on one of the balconies or whatever the case may be, to where they're walking down in the garden. And as she's walking away, she bumps into Miss Rhaenyra, okay, the queen that never was. And she's asking her like, does this bother you? And Rhaenyra's very much like, does it bother you, girl? Okay, because that's your daughter down there that y'all sending, to try to marry him. She's like, my father is king, and at the end of the day, that's his duty to remarry. She says, girl, I didn't ask you the politics. I asked you, does it bother you? And then when Rhaenyra's asking her, does it bother you? She's like, of course it does, but I understand the order of things. I understand that this is the way it works and this is the way it goes. And she says, I'm not sure that you do, however, okay? And so Rhaenyra is talking about something, if you just trying to make me mad, then you failing, it ain't gonna work. And she tells her, no, girl, quite the opposite. I ain't trying to make you mad. I'm trying to give you the real deal, because I don't think you really get it. He was like, whether he marries my daughter or somebody else's, he's still gonna marry sooner or later, and that wife is gonna produce heirs, honey. And they are gonna put that heir in, because when your father passed, they not trying to let no damn woman run nothing, okay? And she's like, well, when I become, you know what I'm saying, that new heir, whatever, you know, this is what Rhaenyra says back to her, then I'm going to change those things and I will create a new order. And Rhaenyra laughs at her. She said, girl, if only it could be, all right? She's like, these men at this realm is not going to let nobody have the opportunity of that. If that was the case, then they would have been appointed a woman in the, you know, council. And she said, girl, that was just for you. That's because you're the queen that never was. You know, they bent a knee to me. And she said, girl, you think because they bent the knee that meant something, child? Soon as your father is up out of here, okay, here's the hard truth. No one else has the heart to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. You know, men would sooner torch this whole damn place, okay, set it on fire, than ever let a woman ascend to the Iron Throne. Don't make no mistakes about it. Period, point blank, okay? And she was like, and your father is no fool. And so Rhaenyra is trying to school her, and I did kind of want to see this and know whether, you know, as a woman and as somebody that was up that didn't get picked, she does have that knowledge and that insight that she can give her, because of course now her mama is gone and she really don't have nobody else she could confide in. And damn Alicent sure as hell ain't no damn, you know, help. And so I thought that was an interesting conversation between them. And speaking of Alicent, we didn't get a scene with her and Valerius where he's confiding in her and telling her how they actually want him to marry damn Lyanna. And she's kind of like looking sad about it for a minute. And she's like, well, a good queen, you know what I'm saying, is what this, you know, what we need. And that would be a good thing or whatever. And, you know, of course, she just tries to be polite about it. She was saying that will also be a very strong match. Of course, everybody knows that. And he was like, yeah, but I don't know her very well. And then the whole age thing is bothering me, right? So he don't know if he really want to do that. And she was like, I'm sure she would enjoy your company just like I do. I said, yeah, okay, Alicent. So she have this gift she bought him. And basically the gifts ends up being, you know, the little dragon that fell and broke. She had somebody fix that. And he was saying what a kind gesture that was. So the hand comes in and interrupts them and say, you know, we got an emergency meeting that I just called. You need to come on. He's like, you know, what is it about? He's like, yeah, you got to come and I got to be able to tell you in there, sir. So he's like, okay, no problem. So he go in there and come to find out, bottom line, what it is that Daemon done, you know, set himself up at Dagon Dragonstone. He done sent an invitation talking about he getting damn married, okay? And that his second wife, Lady Masara, okay, the little whore that we see him with, is basically with child. And that, you know, this dragon egg has to be placed inside, you know, the crib or whatever. And, you know, of course, as him being the rightful heir to the throne. And so, you know, of course, Rhaenyra's looking and she's hearing this and they're all like, what the hell is this? And what game is he playing now? And they like, who the hell is Masara anyway? And they like, you know, his whore. And so, you know, the king is like, you know, he just wants to play games with me. He trying to get, you know, a rise out of me or whatever. And he was like, you know, Corliss tells him, you know, they watching you, sir. So he was like, well, what would you have me do? Send him to the wall? Perhaps I should put his head on a spike. He was like, you know, I'm not paying him no mind or whatever. He's just trying to do this or whatever. So Rhaenyra comes through and was like, what dragons did he steal? Okay. And they was all looking, you know, what dragon egg did he take? And they all looking like, you know, again at her like, oh, this little girl, she come and interrupt. And she didn't give a damn. She was like, what dragon egg did he take? So come to find out, the dragon egg that he took was basically the one that was meant to be, of course, for her brother, okay, that passed away, Prince Baelin's cradle. That was supposed to be his. It was the same one that she chose. So now she pissed off, okay? And now the king is like, listen, assemble my stuff, okay? I'm going out here. And they tell him no, okay? Otto was like, listen, I have to stop you. I don't think that's a good idea, but apologies, my grace, I cannot allow that. It's too dangerous. He says, you know, me and the King's Guard, we gonna get together and we gonna go to Dragonstone and we gonna take care of all of this, all right? You stay here. And so, of course, they basically now, you know, Christian is going to have his first job, ready to get out here, okay, and start. and they're gonna take about 20 other men, and they're gonna go over here to Dragonstone and see what the heck is going on with Mr. Daemon. And so you see Alicent getting her dad ready, and he talking about something, are you gonna go to the king's chambers later? She was like, oh, if you want me to or whatever. And they go ahead and go to, you know, Dragonstone. Okay. And so of course they walking up, and Daemon is basically already out there waiting on them, like, come at me, son. Okay, come at me. What you want? All right. He got the egg. He got the so-called soon-to-be wife with him, and he got his men behind him. So when they get there, you know, they meet halfway on this little bridge or whatever. And, you know, Otto was just telling him, like, what game is this that you trying to play? You already know that, you know, you don't have the right to do this. You know, he over here telling Otto, welcome to Dragonstone. And he was like, you know, Otto was telling him, your time is up, okay? Give us the damn egg. You know, disband your army. Banish your whore, okay? Get her up out of here. Leave Dragonstone by order of the grace. And then, you know what I'm saying? Everything will be all right. And so Daemon is like, where's the king? I don't see him. He was like, man, he ain't got time to come here and play these damn foolish games with you. All right. He's dealing with bigger things. We here. And so, you know, Daemon talking about Crispin, is it? And then, you know, Christian is like, no, Christian. And he was like, you know, because Daemon tried to play it off like, oh, yeah, that's right. He was like, you know, I vaguely remembered you. And Christian basically was like, well, perhaps my prince recalls when I knocked his ass off that horse. And, you know, Daemon started laughing. I said, I know that's right, Christian. Okay, refreshing his memory, boo. And so, you know, he started laughing at that or whatever the case may be. And, you know, he was like, very good. Okay. So he says, well, you know, Otto was asking him, are you that desperate for the, you know, king's attention that you would go through all of this? And he was like, I'm simply doing, you know what I'm saying, what we supposed to do, what is tradition to do. And so Otto told him it ain't no tradition to be fathering no damn bastards with no whores. And Daemon was like, you know, Lady Marissa is going to be my wife. And he was like, again, you know, you already know how the titles and traditions works or whatever the case may be, right? And Daemon is basically like, you know, because Otto even asked, like, you know, what's going on, City Watch, and y'all gonna stand behind and watch this too? And Otto tells him, like, y'all put me in charge of them, okay? They follow my command. And he's like, you want the egg? Come get the egg. And so Otto was like, are you mad? Do you really think you would survive this? And he was like, listen, Daemon tells him, I guess none of us would survive. He said, and you would really take that chance and bring, you know what I'm saying, violence here and put your unborn child and its mother in arm's way too. And so everybody start pulling out their swords, ready to fight or whatever. And the next thing you know, Daemon Dragon pull up and was like, okay, we up in here. And so Otto sees that, you know, he will not win this, okay? At the end of the day, we know that Daemon does have strength, whether he is, you know, king or not. And so we know that his army is stronger. We know that he has this dragon too. So a couple of minutes later, we start hearing some other noises, and we start seeing, you know what I'm saying, the clouds moving or whatever. And your girl Rhaenyra said, I'm in the building, okay? Like, the champ is here. The champ is here, okay? She pull up. And so, of course, Otto talking about, Princess, what are you doing here? And she's like, yo, I came to stop y'all from making a damn fool of yourselves and not having no bloodshed, okay? And she walked up to Daemon and basically was like, boy, stop playing, okay? Why are you doing all of this? She's like, listen, obviously, you know, your problem is with me. I'm the one that, you know, my father made the heir. So all you have to do if you want to get rid of me is basically kill me. You know what I'm saying? And she's basically saying to him, like, why are you doing all of this? And she was like, well, I'm, you know, telling her the same thing that he told Otto. He's like, I just want what's rightfully mine and all this other stuff and want to follow the traditions. You know, this would be for my child one day the same way that you had a dragon egg in your crib when you was a baby that you grew up with. And she's like, okay, well, you know what I'm saying? Is the child here now? He gonna talk about some one day. So this whole time Daemon behind was bluffing. She ain't even pregnant. And then when Masara sees and hears that, she basically get an attitude and go walking away. And so, she telling him like, Damon, stop playing these damn kitty games, all right? If you want to go ahead and kill me, then kill me. Here I am. Like, get it over with. Do what you got to do. I'm right here, uncle, okay? What's good? And so basically, of course, he ends up giving her the egg, and she's able to go ahead and give it to Otto and them, and they put it back in, this little storage thing that they have to hold it. So now Masara is mad, she's saying to Damon like, yo, so you was sitting here playing games and you done told them that you was marrying me and that I'm pregnant. She's like, they may not kill you because you're the prince, but they would kill me in a heartbeat. He want to talk about some, oh, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? I would protect you. I wouldn't let nothing happen to you. She was like, man, listen, I don't know how many damn men, you know what I'm saying, I done heard say that. And I didn't believe they asses, and I don't believe you either, basically. So now when Rhaenyra gets back home and her father finds out that she was at Dragonstone, of course, he's pissed off. He's like, I told you not to damn go. And then you took your behind anyway and jumped on the dragon and went or whatever, And we also see him having a conversation with another member of the council where he's bringing up this whole Lyanna thing again. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is what he wanted. This is what they want me to do. This is what they offering me. And he said, listen, she's the oldest daughter in the wealthiest house in the realm. Okay, so Corlys has got some pull, all right? And on top of that, of course, we know that she's impeccable Valyrian stock or whatever, and she has Targaryen blood, so you can't get no more perfect than that. And he was like, but she's like, what, 12 years old? Shoot, I thought she was 10 or 11, to be honest, but 12 don't make it no better. And he says, well, she will mature. She ain't gonna stay that way. So he was like, listen, I never asked to remarry or whatever. And, they telling him as king, you have to claim more things, even things that you don't want to, right? A marriage is an obligation that you will not be able to put off for long. And so he was like, if you don't choose her, then he's not going to take it well. And he said, yeah, well, I know that, but it ain't much he could do. He would basically just have to deal with it, right? And so this, of course, is on the precipice of them possibly also going into war with the Stepstones, of course, right? So he got all of that to take into consideration. And then on top of that, right after that is when he's seeing that, finding out that Miss Rhaenyra disobeyed him and went ahead to Dragonstone anyway. And so after that, he's here with all the council and Rhaenyra's there and everything. And he lets them know, all of them are coming in and having their seats. And he looking out the window and he's finally made, this decision. So he's about to make his announcement. Chow, 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 chow. So when they all get seated or whatever, he turned around and he let them know, I have finally made my decision, what I'm saying, on who I'm going to marry. And of course, Corlys is just assuming that, it's going to be his daughter because he done had this meeting with him. And I don't think he really even thought about there being any other choices, right? So he's saying, I decided who I'm going to have as my wife. And Corlys is like sitting up and, just looking like he ready to hear his daughter's name. But you have Varys basically look at his daughter, Rhaenyra, and she's shaking her head, yeah, because she knows there's something that he have to do, and she's thinking he's going to choose Corlys' daughter too. But baby, he turned and looked at Alyssa, okay, and was like, I have made my decision. And Rhaenyra looks at her too, baby. Her face changes, and he gonna talk about I am gonna marry a lady Alyssa Hightower come Springs. And of course, Otto is pleased with this, all right. And then damn Corlys is pissed as hell. He like, are you freaking kidding me? Okay, you are making a damn big mistake. This is absurd, all right. And he says, well, my house is Valyrian, the greatest power in the realm. Like, how dare you disrespect me? And of course, Varys had to say, I am your king. Okay, let's not forget that. So Corlys just basically looks at Otto like the trash he is. And, he go ahead and walk out. But it is quite interesting to see somebody actually be pissed off, even though we understand in this case what it is. that, you know, their young daughter is not going to be able to be wed. And of course, Rhaenyra is just heartbroken, okay, and the king is singing Rhaenyra, and she just goes and, you know, leaves out. She don't want to hear nothing they gotta say. She feels so freaking betrayed. And now Alicent, which I think, you know, most of us or all of us, definitely me, saw this coming, is going to become the new queen. So we know it's about to be a civil war all up and through here, baby. All right, and I'm here for it. So we see that Corlys done ran his behind. He didn't waste no time, okay, over to Daemon and telling him, you know, we are cut from the same cloth. I have seen a lot of things, you know, that are similar between us where we can relate and understand each other. And Daemon is like, I ain't know your brother was the king, okay? I thought I was the only one that had a brother that, that was a king, okay? You know, Daemon got to try to throw some shots in there. But he, of course, tells him about the whole crab feeder situation and the things that's going on in the cities. And he like, you know, we could get together and we can make some things happen with this, all right? We both have strength. We both are, you know, second brothers that I think sometimes they kind of underestimate or whatever, right? And of course, when he first was talking about the crab feeder and how the king was handling it, Daemon had to kind of remind him, like, listen, buddy, okay, I could talk crap about my brother. You know how that go. We be like, we could talk about our brother, okay, or our sister or our family, but don't you talk about them, because that ain't your family. So watch your mouth, okay, when you around me. Like, I can say what I want to say, but you can't say what you want to say, all right? So I did like that about Daemon, and I thought Daemon was going to be the one to really make me hate him the worst, but I got to be honest, y'all, okay? I'm liking some of Daemon moves. I might end up being on his side, all right? Right now, Otto is the one that I'm not feeling like that. But basically, you know, he ends up just, you know, telling him all about how the ships have failed and his house will crippled. And he's like, you know, I'm not going for that. I will not be out here all messed up and not be able to defend myself and do what I got to do for me and mine. Okay. And so he was like, you know, I think if we join teams that we could do some real big things and get some stuff accomplished that, you know, we wouldn't be able to otherwise. He was like, it's a chance for you to prove your worth. And anyone who may doubt you, you know what I'm saying, you would be removing their doubt. He said, we are the second sons, okay? And our worth is not given, it's made. So what you trying to do? Okay? That's basically what he was asking. So, of course, as he was talking, we was still seeing this crab feeder out here, you know, still having these crabs feeding on these damn bodies, y'all. Okay? And I love me some damn crabs. I don't think I even had none yet this summer, but I want to eat them, okay? I don't want them eating on me. But that is how the episode ended, y'all. Okay, put it in the comments. Tell me how you are liking this so far. You know, do you like it, do you not like it, and all that kind of stuff. Whose team are you on? Who's right, who's wrong? Okay, did you know that the king was going to be going out after Alicent, baby? Okay, that she was going to be becoming the new queen and moving on up from being Rhaenyra's friend to her damn stepmama. Okay, put it in the comments. Let's discuss. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you are so inclined. Okay, give me a wave. Let me know you came by. Put some flames up in the sky. All right, y'all. Till next time. Toodaloo.